everybody, it's Bruce from Nature Calls, and today I'm out doing a setup of the Hilleberg Allak for an upcoming trip that I've got happening in about a week up in the snow. Definitely want to do setups a bunch of times before you take a new tent out into the field. But this is the two-person freestanding tent by Hilleberg. It's a red label, and they have 3 labels, or 3 degrees of strength, basically. They have yellow, which is their 3-season lightweight. Then they have their red label, which is what this is, which is a 4-season, and it's a combination between strength and weight. And then they have black label, which is their strongest fabric, strongest poles, and definitely for the all-out storm craziness. But these, the red label is also highly touted. I mean, I just saw a video of a guy that was doing Denali in Alaska in January, and he was doing a red label tent. He was doing actually the solo, which is the one-person version of this tent. It has 7 pounds 4 ounces, and that's the bag that it comes in, the poles, the stakes, the line, everything. And it also, there's a separate extra pole section and a repair for a broken pole. So that is all in. Right here, is the bottom. This black is the bottom of the tent, or the bathtub floor, and it's stronger, or a heavier fabric for abuse on the ground. Can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's a 70 denier, but you can look that up on their websites, www.hilleberg.com. So Hilleberg designs their tents so the outer, or the rainfly part of the tent, is connected to the inner part of the tent where you sleep. And they're connected in such a way that when you set it up, it all goes up at one time. So there you get the benefit of, especially when it's really bad weather, you're having everything go up, and the inner tent is staying nice and dry. One thing that I like to do on the ends of the tent, whatever tent it is that I want facing into the wind, I put a little string. This string's the inner core of paracord. Just something that will help me, especially in a storm or or at night, so I know which end I want to have into the wind. A few years back, Hilleberg designed a tent called the Stika as their first freestanding tent. They make a lot of the tunnel design tents, but they came out with the Stika, and they came out mainly, I guess it was for the canoers, or people that were in canoes where they didn't necessarily have a good place to put stakes, be it a rocky outcropping, or just I guess just a place where you can necessarily stake it out. So they came up with their freestanding plan. So you don't necessarily have to stake this out when you're setting it up like their tunnel tents. It's not windy today, so I'm not going to stake it out, but they have a stake out at each spot where the poles go in. They do provide the stakes. There's 15 of these V-peg stakes. Stake it out, all the points around the tent. And when you stake out, you want to push those stakes in, if you can, at a 45-degree angle, and you want them almost down to the ground. And you don't want any leverage point where you're going to break a stake. You don't want anything breaking. Let me get this all staked out. I'll be using those when I stake out the guy lines for this test, but they're really nice, super lightweight stake tents. Like, I'm going to be going up in the snow in about a week, so I'll be using snow stakes or my snowshoes for that. They're made by the DAC company, which is a top company that works with these lightweight aluminum products, just like these poles are DAC poles that Hilleberg uses. You definitely want to take a lot of care with your poles. This is one of the, if there's like a reason for tents to fail, it's where these where poles aren't put together the right way. You're not making sure that each one of these ferrules are fully inserted. They're all pre-curved. That is where the big failure comes. All the poles are the same length, so you don't have to worry which pole goes where, but they do have indications on the tent where the poles go in. They have a red, a white, and a blue. So you want the red to go on one side, the red side, and then on the other side, the same red side. So let me just find. It was super nice when they were doing their testing. They decided with these freestanding tents to not do the full pole sleeve. And when it comes to high wind situations, and I had experience with the Stika, these sleeves that are down at the bottom here are really the way to go. It's just a fantastic design. So you put these sleeves in, you make sure they're all the way down at the bottom. The sleeve material is a lot like the bathtub floor. But there's one pole, the red pole, and I'll keep working on it and get all the poles in. So you can peg out all the whole tent if it's a super windy situation, but also when it's really windy. So now you can see we've got all the poles in and it's starting to come up. So it starts off real low profile in the wind, and then as you start bringing up the tent, especially in a windy situation, you want to go around, put up one or two, and just keep kind of walking around the tent. And these pole sleeves are big enough to add a second pole. These are 9mm poles. So if you're thinking super wind load or snow load, you could add a second pole into each one of these sleeves. And then these little clips, you just clip one to one pole, then you'd skip one and put that one on the other pole. But you just keep working your way around, and the tent starts to appear. Take shape. If you don't know much about Hilleberg tents, they're one of the premier tent builders in the world. If you look at any of the major explorers, people that are going after big mountains like Denali or Everest, or any of those where there's going to be some serious winds and rain and snow, you'll see Hilleberg tents are the choice. One of the reasons is Kerlon fabric that they use. They developed it, the outer fabric on this tent, and on all our tents, the outer is Kerlon, and it's waterproof. So what they've done is they've impregnated silicone into the fabric, and it's triple impregnation. What that does, of course, it makes it severely waterproof. Water does not get through this, and water doesn't come out. So we'll get into how they deal with condensation in a minute. But adding all that silicone in turn has added a lot of strength and total strength to the fabric. Okay, so there's the tent. Looking good. For the guy lines, they use this really nice cord that they've developed. It's Vectran. Super strong. This is a 2mm. They have 3mm for their black label, but there's no core in it. It's super weave, and so even if it's soaked, it doesn't stretch very much, and it has a super grip when it comes to a good cordage. And you can see right here, they have more of a rubberized fabric that they use for each one of their clips and where the guy out points are. And to make it super strong and incorporate the tent and the guy outs, you take this guy out line and you wrap it around the pole. Now you're just getting super structural rigidity being distributed all the way to the whole tent. I mean, it's such a great design. And you have these great little lockouts. Let's go ahead and I will guy it all out. You don't have to put your guy lines together necessarily. You can, and you can use just one stake. If you have extra stakes, you can guy it in all kinds of configurations. The guy lines are so important. You want to tighten them up just so they're taut. You don't want to squash the shape of the actual tent poles. Now, before I put the rain fly on, let me kind of explain what we got going. So I was talking about ventilation. You'll see on a four-season tent, the fabric goes all the way to the ground, and that's for snow buildup and driving rain and wind. You want it all battened down really well. On the other side, though, you don't get very good ventilation. So what they've done here, this black part, is actually a breathable part. It's not like this siliconized down here. This is actually breathable. So you get ventilation coming out of there, and you always want to maximize your ventilation in these kind of tents so you can unzip it as well. And this is just part of the outer tent, and here you see the inner tent. So with the rain fly, I'll show you that now, it covers this completely. Just kind of zip this up. Let's put the rain fly on. And I have the rain fly also on the wind side. There's little rings to hook the rain fly onto. Once you get the rain fly on, and you tighten that down, and it actually adds even more rigidity to the dome of the tent. I don't know if you can notice here, but they actually have like a little gutter even over the door. So if the rain comes down here, it hits this little gutter and runs down and over to the side. What a nice little touch. I'm sure you'll notice that I didn't put the stakes in completely. Ground is frozen, and this is just a practice setup with no wind. There we go, real nice. So now you have all this spot where wind will be coming up, and if you have those vents open and venting inside the tent, you're going to see a whole heck of a lot of ventilation. But when you're out and you're breathing, that's where condensation mostly comes from, or wet clothes, or if you're boiling water inside your tent, if it's that bad, then you're going to get condensation in your tent. The way these tents are designed, being that this is all waterproof, and the inner is also not waterproof, but it has a water repellent and it breathes, but the vapor or the condensation of your breath and all that will come hit this outer, and it'll slide down back into the ground. The inner has a durable water repellent, DWR finish on it, so it can breathe. So even if the water comes out, hits the outer, and then slides down, even if it gets on the tent or any kind of spray, it has a durable water repellent on it. So here we have the outer door. There's one on each side. It's a two-person tent. They have a nice gasket over the zipper. They don't have it up underneath the rain fly. But what's really nice is for ventilation, I can unzip the very top of this even and get more ventilation. Or if I want to get out and there's been a ton of snow, like a buildup of snow, I can bring it down that far. Let's go ahead and bring it like normal. Nice big zipper pull, so if you have gloves on, we'll just roll that on back. The doors take a lot of abuse, so you want to take Really good carrier doors. Don't want to step on them, get sand in them. Alright. Now here we can see how the inner is attached to the outer. And so you get quite a big gap in between. So that's where the condensation vapor will come through the inner and hit the outer and go down. And this is all waterproof out here. But there you can see the gap, and it's like that all the way around the tent. The vestibule, this is another feature about Hilleberg's that I love, is that their vestibule you don't have to stake out on a lot of their tents. And so here we have the pole holds out the vestibule. This is the Deuter 60 plus 10. What goes in there? This is the Gregory Palisades, which is an 80-liter tent, 80-liter bag. Fits just great. If you want to use one side for just your packs, the other side for a door, there you go, it's got plenty of room for 2 packs. The other thing with 4-season tents is you have the inner is all fabric, and on a 3-season tent you'll see sometimes, like I know in a lot of American tents, this is all mesh. But in a 4-season tent you definitely want to be able to keep any of that driving snow and wind out of your tent. Now this tent actually has a feature that a lot of Hilleberg people love, is the inverted T-door. So you have a zipper in the middle and then a zipper on the bottom of each one of these to open this all up. And you can put that back. There you go. Very nice tent. It's a 2-person tent, and they designed these for one of the Hillebergs that's 6'4". I'm 6 foot. That's just enough room. So they designed it for a 6'4" person, and that's how they generally put their tents together. Yeah, the same situation on this side as on that side. You have some hooks inside here to hang up some lines if you want to dry your clothes. Nice and bright and cheery yellow inside here. Very nice. Very, very nice. So right here, I've got the roof ventilation. I can I've got a double zipper so I can also ventilate on the inside here with just the mosquito netting. So this is just mosquito netting now for ventilation. Or if it's like in the middle of winter, they've got a double zipper. So now I can unzip it from the top, unzip this for maximum ventilation. Now I'm getting a ton of ventilation going on here. Pretty nice. And one of the things that really got me intrigued about this tent was one of their explorers, who's a canoeist, or who's actually they named the Outdoorsman of the Year over in Great Britain, and he uses this tent. But what you can do is detach the inner, and this is what he had to do because he had to do a repair on his canoe, and he detached the inner all the way through. He had both doors open. He actually slid his canoe and did repairs so it was out of the rain and dry, and he had like a little workshop. So I thought that was really awesome. You can detach this inner completely. Say if you had to squeeze in some more people, which is something that I had to do a couple of years ago. I was up camping and some other people were unprepared, and we needed to squeeze some more people into our tent. I think I was using a Nalo, Hilleberg Nalo, and for 2 people we squeezed in 3 people easily. We had 5 people in there at one point in time, but you can take out the inner, or take out a portion of it and squeeze more people in there for, if you're having a meeting or whatever. But there you go. Pretty awesome. All right, so there we have it, the Hilleberg Allak 2-person freestanding tent, 4-season. It's just got a ton going for it, and I'm really excited to take it up in the snow here in about a week. But I have full confidence in this tent. I have full confidence in pretty much every Hilleberg tent. I don't know a situation that I could get myself into that Hilleberg would fail. And I know there's a lot of people that are explorers that are out on big mountains or in Antarctica. They trust their lives with these tents. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out to the Hilleberg Company or reach out here to my channel, and I will answer as fast as I can. But they're fantastic, and I hope to see you out on the trail. Bye now.